As the fifth-ranked Wolverines of the University of Michigan play host to the Hoosiers from the University of Indiana. Michigan has not given up a rushing touchdown in the last 19 quarters, but this man, Anthony Thompson, might have something to say about that. He's one touchdown off the NCAA record of Tony Dorsett and Glenn Davis, and he could break that record today here on ABC Sports. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our ABC studios in New York. I'm Roger Twibell.
And one more pedal for the Wolverines at Iowa as Michael Taylor returned at quarterback. Today, the possible fourth pedal will try to be a thorn from Indiana, led by the great running back Anthony Thompson. The Hoosiers, the Wolverines, coming up on ABC Sports. Of Michigan, the centerpiece of the celebration. The Wolverines hosting the Indiana Hoosiers, 46th Big Ten college football game between the two. Bob Griese, let's talk about this Indiana football team. They got to be motivated some by their running back Anthony Thompson and his opportunity to go in the college football record book today. He has 58 career touchdowns. He needs one to tie the record and two to break it.
Well, it's definitely a tailback offense at Indiana, and Thompson gets most of the carries. He has started 36 games for Indiana. 26 times he's gained 100 yards or more, but never against the University of Michigan. And Michigan leads the Big Ten in rushing defense. It's going to be a tough time for Anthony Thompson today. I think to win, Indiana has to have a good game from their quarterback, David Schnell. Schnell started off the season very slowly, but the last 3 or 4 ball games, he has really come on as a very hot quarterback. He is a second all-time career passer for IU.
I think one of the reasons for that would be the young people at the wideout positions for Indiana as the Hoosiers, wearing white, come into Michigan Stadium. They're 4-2. They're coming off a solid win against Minnesota. Coach Bill Mallory in his 6th year at Indiana, and he has restored Hoosier football to respectability. Looking at the Big Ten standings, you find 2 of them atop the standings undefeated, those 2 being Michigan and Illinois. And Illinois we're going to see next week at Iowa. Indiana, of course, is still in the hunt with only 1 loss. So we look forward to the ball game this afternoon. We'll have Michigan right after we take this time and word from our ABC station. The Michigan Wolverines racing into Michigan Stadium, which today, for an 89th consecutive time, will have more than 100,000 people on hand. Wolverines 5-1, only a 5-point loss in the opening game to Notre Dame, marring their record. Today, they're trying for win number 699, and that is more than any other Division I-A school. Head coach, Bo Schembechler, enough said. And Bob, this football team, I'm guessing, is going to run for a lot of yards right down the middle of the road today.
Well, Bo says if you can't run, you can't win. And he has a big offensive line. Indiana has 10 new starters on defense from last year. They're very young, good athletes, but they're lightweight and inexperienced, and you can bet that Bo's going to try and run on them today.
That means, too, that when you're outsized and out-experienced and all of those other factors, eventually you got to gamble on defense. And to gamble with an option quarterback, the ability of Taylor, is like cutting your wrists.
Well, Taylor has played well since he's been back, and with Taylor in there, he gives you the smarts to be able to check off at the line of scrimmage and put you in the right play at the right time.
As we noted, this is homecoming weekend. In many instances across the country, homecoming doesn't always embrace some traditional things. And here at Michigan, there aren't many things that are carried on, but one of them that is still going on is the annual Mud Bowl, played between Sigma Alpha Epsilon and Phi Delta Theta for a 55th time this morning. The SAEs won it by a score of 6-0. The women, yes, they do it too. Kappa Alpha Theta defeated Sigma Delta Tau, a safety, 2-0.
Announcing a new generation.
Series record between the two teams a bit lopsided, as you see. Bill Mallory is yet to win a ball game over here at Michigan Stadium, but you never know. There are days and there are days, and today there's not a cloud in the sky. Jack Arute is with us.
Keith, you've talked about Anthony Thompson, the Heisman hopeful for the Indiana University Hoosiers. One thing that he did today that he's done before every game, all the way back in high school, when he was done suited up, doing his pregame warm-ups, he went back to the locker room, went by himself, and opened a book, the Bible. Opened it just up randomly and read a passage. He said, I've done it every time when I've gotten ready to start a ball game. A quiet moment for an introspective guy before a lot of violence and a lot of hard running.
Heck of a football player. And we'll have more on him before the day is done, because he has a chance on this day to put himself into the college football record book. Indiana won the toss. The Hoosiers want the ball. Scott McGowan and Anthony Thompson are the deep people. This is J.D. Carlson kicking off. 73 degrees. Not a cloud, as we said. Very little wind. It's like a summer day. I'm surprised it's only 73. Carlson hits it. It's high. It is short. And it's certainly kicked away from Thompson. Scott McGowan looking for some daylight. And the Wolverines hunt him down at the 23. Bo Schembechler yesterday said this about facing the Indiana Hoosiers. Dave Schnell, the quarterback, Anthony Thompson, the running back. Bo put it this way.
I would almost venture to say that Snell worries me the most. There's no question that Thompson will get yardage. I'd like to see him, I'd like to see him held to about 4 yards a carry. I wouldn't like to see a run of over 10 yards. And if they run him 40 times, he's going to get 150, 160 yards on us. But Snell can beat you. He can beat you with the option play, or he can beat you throwing the football.
And let's see what Bill Mallory wants to do on the first down. From the 23, he gives it to Thompson. And he had a hole on the left side. He was tripped as he crossed the 28-yard line. But I want to tell you, if somebody doesn't trip him, he might still be running. He had a big hole. The offensive front, obviously a key when you run the ball like Indiana does. The backfield people, Miller is the blocking back or the fullback with Thomas and Mays outside. And the big people up front are Saunders at tight end. Schneider, Francis Vargo is the only returning letterman, or starter, I should say, in that front group, Beckles and Oberdorf. And the man who is injured is Ian Beckles, who is from Montreal. He is a senior, 285-pound guard, and he is the Hoosier hurt and down on the field. So we unfortunately have a...
Makes your confidence getting started.
It's a gain of close to 5. So it's second down and a long 5. Ball is out near the 28-yard line. Schnell gives back to Thompson. He goes the other side, and he will pick up a first down for Indiana at the 34-yard line. Mike Evans brought him down. Mike Evans is one of 3 down linemen for the Michigan Wolverines. Mike Teeter in the middle and Hutchinson outside. Chris is a redshirt freshman. The backers are Townsend, Milligan, Anderson, and Abrams, and J.J. Grant is the man out of there inside, and they may miss him, though Milligan's very good. The defensive secondary, the corners are Key and Dotton. The safeties, probably 2 of the best in the country, at least in my opinion, Wellborn and Murray. Thompson again. That's what makes him so tough. He is so strong when he's in traffic. He is not going to burn you with 85 and 90-yard runs, but he is going to just beat you to death 6 and 7 and 8 yards a pop, unless you gang up on him. And you're seeing right now what Bo Schembechler was talking about. But if he gets 150, 160 yards, obviously it's going to take time to do it.
Well, he's a durable back, Keith. His longest run of the year is only 35 yards. Mainly runs between tackles.
It's second down and 1. All near the 43-yard line. They hand it to the fullback inside, Cal Miller. And Miller pops it up across the 45 to the 46, and that'll be another Indiana first down. Now let's check the injury of Beckles with Jackaroot.
Well, Keith, we checked with the Indiana University trainer, and he reports that Beckles re-injured the left ankle. He said he injured it earlier in the season, but he will be ready for duty if needed later in the game.
Right, sir. Ball just over the 45, and it's a worry for the Michigan side of the field when the Hoosiers come out and pop you for consecutive first downs, and the man who has handled the ball on every play except one was Thompson. Miller carried the last time. First down, it's Schnell to throw it. Goes the sideline way. Pass is incomplete. It is caught out of bounds. Derek Mays, a sophomore from Palmetto, Florida, was free but he came down with the ball out of bounds.
Bobby Abrams, number 24, is going to cause Schnell to throw this ball up a little bit higher than he'd like to. Schnell right there in front of him, jumps. That's a good call. He comes down with his 1 foot on the out-of-bounds stripe. There's Abrams, 24, that forces him to throw it high over his head and incomplete.
And it's 2nd down and 10. Thompson weaves his way through, and Anthony reaches the Michigan 46-yard line. He'll be about 2 yards short of the 1st down. And again, I want you to note that this green Indiana offensive front has opened holes on virtually every play against the Michigan defensive front.
Well, most of the time it's just straight blocking or zone blocking, where the offensive line blocks the man in front of him and holds on to the block and allows Thompson the ability, the choice to go anywhere he wants to. But mainly he's an inside runner. He's not a flashy outside speed burner.
It's 3rd down and 2 for the Hoosiers. It's Thompson diving. He's going to have it. He is at the Michigan 43, and he had a 1 foot bounce that got the 1st down. He has done what you see on the screen, yes, but never against the Michigan Wolverines.
And he always lines up, always plays, very durable, practices as hard as he plays in the ball games, and because of that reason, he's a great example for the other members of the team.
One other little factor to put in your head, that IU has won 12 of 13 games when Anthony Thompson has gained 150 yards or more. And Schnell again on 1st down goes back to throw, throws it over the head of the intended man, Eddie Thomas. Eddie is a sophomore from Fort Knox, Kentucky, and the leading receiver on the team. Rob Turner was their deep man from a year ago, but he flunked out. Thomas has stepped in to become the bellwether for them.
In fact, if they have a weakness on this offense, it's probably at wide receiver because of the loss of Rob Turner, as you mentioned, the real speed guy coming back. Thomas has really come on of late, but the other side, true freshmen, Scott McGowan and Derek Mays have been holding down the split end position.
Ernie Thompson, brother of Anthony, is now in at the flanker spot. 230-pounder. They give it to Anthony. Good play behind the line of scrimmage by number 91, Mike Teeter, the middle guard. Slowed him down, and the Wolverines jump him just short of the 41. It was a very good penetrating play by Teeter.
Teeter actually ran around the block of the center, Fargo. Michigan front, not real big, but quick, and they all can run.
Otis Williams checks into the secondary now. Abrams comes out, so they go to nickel back on 3rd down and 9. Schnell rolls to buy some time and has lots of time, but can't find anybody. Pulls it down and has to run now, and Indiana will come up short of the 1st down. That's very good coverage because the young Indiana receivers are going downfield against a veteran defensive secondary.
Take a look at the pass protection. Only 2 men out to the left side as Schnell rolled toward both of them, and they were both covered. This is one thing that Schnell can do very well. He's very mobile, can run from the pocket.
Mackey Smith will punt. They will not try the field goal from this point, obviously. It would be forever and away. And Scott Bonnell has not had a very good start on the season place kicking. So Smith is in the punt, averaging 40. Hits it very, very high. That's a very good kick. Now it depends on the bounce. Oh, and he got a bad one. It kicks into the end zone. He was trying to spin it down, and he had good rotation, but the bite didn't happen for him, and the ball ricochets on into the end zone, and it comes out to the 20 for Michigan's first possession. Those are alumni cheerleaders if they look a little more mature than what you're still looking at on the sideline. Homecoming weekend. Michigan gets the ball for the first time from their own 20 with 10 minutes and 21 seconds to go in the first quarter and no score. Indiana showed the ability to move the ball on the ground, but came away empty. Tony Bowles is the deep man. Michael Taylor is back at quarterback. And the Wolverines go double wide and run Bowles. And he skates along, gets up to the 26-yard line. Michael Taylor is back at quarterback, the senior from Lincoln Heights, Ohio. Leroy Horde, Bernie Leggett going to be switching off and on at the fullback position depending on the circumstance. And Tony Bowles, the tailback, and once in a while you might see Leroy back there as well. Callaway and McMurtry, two of the better wideouts in the country, are on the field. It is Walker at tight end with Doring, Dingman, Everett, Elliott, and Skrepenak along the offensive front, one of the biggest offensive fronts in the country in college football. Make it 2nd down and 4. They're double wide at the bottom of your picture now. Callaway and McMurtry, and Taylor straight back. Lets it go. Howard. Desmond Howard. Coming out of a slot position, makes the catch. And it's 1st down for the Wolverines as they cross the 40. The defense for Indiana today, and this may be where the Hoosiers will be hard-pressed. The down 3 are Harrison, Nolan Harrison, Larry McDaniel, and Brian Honeycutt. They are respectively 275, 230, and 260. The backers are Mason Hagan, Williams, and Farrell. The secondary, the corners are Dumas and Middleton. Ane and Ziegler are the safeties. 1st down Wolverines, just short of the 43. Taylor will put it up on 1st down, sets up a screen, drops it off to Leggett. And the freshman fullback from Colorado Springs is brought down by Hagan and Middleton, just short of his 1st down.
Schembechler on the side calling the plays along with Gary Moeller, who is in the press box. But one of the big surprises, Keith, for this Indiana team is their defense. So they lost 10 starters from last year's ball club. They come into the game 2nd in the Big Ten in total defense and 7th in the nation in total defense and 2nd against the pass in the nation. Now, they've played some teams that weren't real powerhouses, and this is the tougher part of their schedule, the 2nd half of the year.
On 2nd down and 2, Taylor gives to Bowles. Bowles is caught behind the line of scrimmage by that 230-pound redshirt freshman nose guard, Larry McDaniel from St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, obviously, when you're only 230 and playing nose tackle in college football, you better be quick. Number 97 over the center. Number 51 is Everett. 97 just slides along, gets rid of Everett, and makes a nice play. Joe Novak, the defensive coordinator for the Hoosiers, tried to move McDaniel to a linebacker position, and he didn't play as well standing up, so they put him back down. Says, you're light, but you use your quickness and get the job done that way.
3rd down now, and 3 wideouts in the ball game as Callaway goes in motion, coming back this way for Michigan. And they run it with Bowles. And he fumbled the football, but covered it. Looked like the ball came out for a second, but Dumas was there. And Mike is the kind of a guy that sometimes it's typical of a free safety or a rough cornerback. He'll get all involved, emotionally involved. He'll come up there and stick his head in the play. But in so doing at a corner position, you leave some real estate unprotected.
Well, that's as a quarterback or an offensive coordinator, you look for somebody that's aggressive like that. First of all, you're careful, and secondly, you may be able to get some big home runs on him.
Markel Granderson, reserve tailback, is the deep man under the punt. Chris Stapleton in to hit it. Chris averaging 41 yards per kick for Michigan. That's a low snap, but he handles it all right. Shoots it to the end zone. So Indiana's 2nd possession will begin at the 20, 6 minutes and 54 seconds to play in the 1st quarter, and there is no score in the game. I'm going to watch his team now in its 2nd offensive possession. The first time they moved the ball pretty well, with Thompson in particular having room to run between the tackles. When he went to the pass, they couldn't effectively move the ball through the air. Ian Beckles, incidentally, is back on the front line now for Indiana. He had that sprained ankle on the very first scrimmage play, but he has come back. That's Derek Mays. Will be the wideout to the bottom of the picture. Just see the top of his head. Eddie Thomas up there at the top. They're going to run it on 1st down. Anthony Thompson is hit, and he is brought down. Anthony Thompson from Terre Haute, Indiana, going to school at Bloomington, Indiana. And he likes very much, despite the fact that he's a Heisman Trophy candidate, could go in the college football record books today, he likes being away from the media.
I like it kind of hidden way. You know, the media puts a lot of pressure on you. And I was speaking with Barry Sanders last year, and we became good friends. And, you know, he said the media really changed him as a person somewhat. And, you know, I like being hidden away, basically.
Well, you can understand that.
Michigan defense starting to swarm now as T.J. Osmond is right there. And down he goes right about the 20-yard line.
No surprises for Indiana. They came out giving the ball to Thompson. I think that's his 8th carry of the day. Michigan is primed to stop Anthony Thompson.
But no big deal made out of the fact that he, with 2 touchdowns today, becomes the all-time career touchdown scoring leader, replacing Tony Dorsett and Glenn Davis. It's been very quietly played down. The Indiana people have made very little of it. The media has shown very little interest in it, I guess probably because it had to travel a little bit. That ball is dumped off to Terry Saunders, the tight end, but the Michigan Wolverines recovering in a hurry. Number 37, Eric Anderson, is there, and it does not work for a first down.
Saunders is the starting tight end this year. He was an outside linebacker last year. In fact, number 87, he started all 12 games for Indiana. A little delay block allows the back to go through, and he slides downfield. Picks up a nice 7 or 8 yards, but unfortunately for Indiana, they needed 12.
And on 4th down, it's kicking time. Mackie Smith is in to punt. His first one was 39 yards. Trip Wellborn is back to return it. There is no pressure. Not a bad kick. Pretty good hang time. Tripp circles at the 30, drops it, dribbles it, and goes down at about the 29-yard line. 42-yard punt, no return. 4:41 to go in the first quarter. And foggy. In fact, it caused some trouble around the airport areas in this region, but fog's burned off. But I don't think I'll ever see a warmer, prettier day in this locale at the end of October than you have in hand today. It's incredible.
Well, the whole Midwest
really something.
Enjoying this good weather.
All right, here comes Michigan now. Let's see what they can do with that number. Out of the I formation, they're double wide, bottom of the picture, and Michael Taylor, an option quarterback, is in there, and he threw the ball very, very well last week. They hand it off to Bernie Leggett, who's getting more and more carries as the games go on now, with Jared Bunch. Incidentally, Bunch is on the sidelines and could play today if he is needed. In fact, they might even give him a chance to play a little bit. We got one of the Wolverines shaken up. It's Tony Bowles, the tailback. So Tony Bowles took a whack, and he is down right now. It may be he just had his bell rung, looking at the posture that he has assumed there. Of course, sometimes a hand gets inside the face guard, too, and can cause you some pain. And this is not a man that Michigan can afford to lose, not now.
Even though Michigan has, let's take another look. Watch to the right of your screen. Bowles, number 42. It was just a straight ahead play into the line. It's hard to tell. It's not anything. Doesn't seem like he got poked in the face or up around the helmet anywhere.
He looked groggy when they were talking to him. Bunch is in the ball game, so Alan Jefferson and Jared Bunch, 2 coming off of the injury list, are in the lineup right now. Jefferson with a leg problem and Bunch with a leg problem. Jared hasn't played in some time. Now they go to the big man, and the Indiana Hoosiers jump all over him. Greg Farrell was the first one to get there. And Bunch starting with that carry a little tentatively. He did not get off quick, and it gave the Hoosiers time to jump him.
Well, Farrell is the team leader in sacks with 5 and tackles for losses, and he was in there that time. But you're right, Bunch was the starting fullback at the beginning of the season, was injured in one of the first 2 ball games, has been out, and this is the first time back for Jared Bunch in his first carry in over a month.
So the loss takes him back to the 33. 3rd down, 7. Not exactly 7. That's more like 6. Michael Taylor throws into a crowd. He's lucky to get it back because number 47, Mark Hagan, had more of the ball than the intended receiver did, Chris Callaway.
Hagan, number 47, is going to play a zone. He's just dropping back, not covering anybody in particular, but anybody that's in his area. And he makes a nice play. Hagan started as a freshman 2 years ago and had shoulder problems last year. In fact, had more surgeries than he had tackles coming into the year.
3 times he's had surgery in the back.
Yeah, in his back. That's right. It's his back.
10 Hoosiers up on the line, jumping around. Look like they want to have a try here at Stapleton. They're still flexing, and the Wolverines are watching them. They're jumping around, jumping around, jumping around. They might have burned up the clock. Remember that old story about the guy he's jumping around, he's jumping around and jumping around, and the big old center sitting there looking at him and said, "If you'll just stand still for a few minutes, I'll knock you down."
I'll bet he would have. Well, all the confusion with the University of Michigan punts. Indiana has blocked. You see illegal procedure.
They got him to move. They kept jumping around, and one of the people up front for Michigan did move.
Indiana's blocked a couple of punts already this year.
Here's Jackaroo.
Well, Keith, we checked on the condition of Tony Bowles. What they're going to do is he's pinched a nerve on the right side of his neck. So what they're going to do is they're going to put him in a little bit of a brace, but they say that he's ready to come back and play if need be. They've applied some ice, and this foam rubber that's going around his neck should keep him in good shape to go back and play.
Well, he did stick his helmet into the guy, and that's probably how he got it twisted a little bit. It's 4th down, and about 12 now as Stapleton stands back inside his 15-yard line. Granderson is get a little pressure, and he's not a very good kick. It hooks out of bounds, and it goes out of bounds around the Indiana 44. So all that dancing around by the Indiana Hoosiers had some effect on Stapleton's punt. It's only 27 yards. And the Hoosiers now.
Wind blowing in.
Oh, they haven't had it all.
Yeah.
Even the night of the quake, they didn't have any wind. It was very still.
I think it's easier for a team to come in and play under those conditions rather than windy Candlestick Park.
That's right. Don Matejko is in there at fullback now, number 36, and gets a block, and Anthony Thompson uses it, and he moves it from the 46-yard line down close to the Michigan 45. Veda Murray brought him down.
The offensive line as they go into their blocks, just straight ahead blocking. Thompson started off to his left and veered back to the right side. It's all straight blocking, just option running. If he sees a hole to the left side, he continues. If not, he kind of cuts back. The key is on the linebackers. They have to not flow too quickly and make sure they plug all the gaps.
Cal Miller back at fullback now. It's 2nd down and 1. Fullback Miller has the 1st down as he reaches the Michigan 42. So once again, the Indiana Hoosiers in a scoreless ball game here in the 1st quarter are playing on the Michigan side of the field. I was talking to Bo Schembechler yesterday, and I asked him, what do you think Mallory's going to do? You know, Bill Mallory is not a whole lot unlike you. And he said, oh, he's going to sell them on the idea they can come over here and jawbone us and run right at us and knock us out of the way. Well, so far, I'd say Bo's right.
And they've done a little bit of that.
That's right. Schnell back to throw it on 1st down. Goes big to the corner. And incomplete. Ernie Thompson, 230-pound sophomore brother of Anthony, and he's got good speed. But Todd Plate running right with him.
It's like he
can't hook up.
Should have caught it, too.
Yeah.
The ball was right there. You run in the middle, 1st down after and that ball is right on target. And as you mentioned, that's Ernie Thompson, the brother, the younger brother of Anthony. He's playing this year for the first time. He came into the ball game with no receptions. It was a prop 48, did not play at all last year as a true freshman, and this is his first chance playing, and that was a big drop for Thompson.
With that size and that speed, though, I don't believe he's going to be a wideout.
No, not very long. 230-pound wide receiver.
Alan Bryant is in the game now. They go back to Anthony. There's another big play by Teeter, the middle guard. Big Mike got a piece of him and turned him upside down. There's a loss on that one. Well, they had their big chance. If Ernie Thompson catches the ball that was laid almost perfectly in his arms, Indiana has the lead. But that was a typical Mallory sort of a move, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was a good call, too.
Yes, it was.
It was.
Anthony Thompson trying to take down that stat on third down and long. That pass is not intercepted. Very well could have been. It was intended for Eddie Thomas, and Trip Welburn was back there and had a chance to come up with it, number 3.
It's got to be frustrating for David Schnell, the quarterback, because this man was open.
Yep.
He lost all of his receivers from last year. As we mentioned, Turner was not coming back. This man is open. He just doesn't run the right route to get in the right area. Schnell was expecting him to be a little bit deeper and a little bit more inside. Play was there, and it should have been a completion.
And so they've got a punt. Mackie Smith, third time today, 39-42 on his first 2 punts. Welburn looking for his first return. And Smith gets it way into the air, trying to kill it deep, and he's got a chance to do it. It bounces just into the end zone. Looked like for a second time he might be lucky and get the right kind of spin, but he didn't. 1:09 to go in the first quarter after a 44-yard punt. It must be the alumni band, because he doesn't seem to have quite the same volume on that big horn that the younger guy does. All right, from the 20, Michigan again. And they're going to start out with Alan Jefferson in there at the tailback position, not Tony Bowles. So Tony's staying on the bench with that.
The question is, where's Leroy Hoare?
Well, that's right. Where is Leroy? Well, Jefferson finds some daylight and runs it up across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Alan Jefferson, a 205-pound junior from Detroit, had calcium growth in the shin area of his leg, and it took they wasted a whole year getting that thing out of there and getting him healthy. Desmond Howard, number 21, checks into the lineup, bringing a play with him as Callaway comes out. There's a look at Allen. Inside a minute to go in the first quarter. No score. First down, Wolverines, 32-yard line. Michael Taylor throwing. Lets it go down the sideline. Just a fraction long. Pass intended for Howard. He had McMurtry on a fly. He was dragging Howard behind him, and he threw it a little too long. You know what? That's a tough play, isn't it? When you got McMurtry stretching him vertically like that.
That's a good thought.
And Howard was
You described it well, because both wide receivers on the same side. One was clearing it deep. The other was kind of trailing about 12 to 15 yards behind.
And wide open.
Yeah, just overthrew it.
Second down and 10. Want to throw it again. Hurlett this time. Pass is caught by Callaway. And that little spin got his first down at the 44-yard line.
Outstanding receivers, and the two that are backing them up aren't bad either.
First down for the Wolverines. Carrying Alan Jefferson. Big play for Jefferson. Shows his speed down the sidelines. First down, Michigan. Indiana 15. Mike Middleton brought him down. Boy, that is destructive blocking on the left side. They just blew him out of the way.
And the offensive lineman right here, Elliott, is going to pull and get up inside and lead the play. Good blocking to the left side at the point of attack. But watch Elliott, number 69, as he comes around, pulls inside, gets a block there, and the rest is all Jefferson. He was the state of Michigan sprint champion in the 100-yard dash a couple of years ago coming out of high school.
And suddenly Michigan's knocking on the door for the first time today. Jefferson again, cuts it back. He's a pretty good-sized guy. He weighs 205 pounds, and there's nothing timid about him. It looks like he may be healthy enough now to get some playing time, and he hasn't had a whole lot in his time here at Michigan.
In fact, he didn't make the trip last week to Iowa, and you know, it's really Leroy Horde is the backup tailback, or one of the two, and either he injured himself in pregame warm-ups, or he's in Bo Schembechler's doghouse for some other reason.
Michigan Stadium, 89 consecutive times. We have had over 100,000 people come to this old ball yard to watch the Wolverines play, and right now Michigan has a 2nd down and 3 at the Indiana 8-yard line in a scoreless ball game. Alan Jefferson, the tailback, he's primarily responsible for them being here. He carries for a 3rd consecutive time, the big run being a 41-yarder to put him down at the 15 with a 1st down. Leroy Horde, well, we've smelled it out, and Bob's right. Doghouse, right, Jack Arute?
Absolutely right, Keith Jackson. Bo Schembechler has a rule here at Michigan where if you don't practice on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, you don't start. Leroy Horde had to go get some dental work on Tuesday. He missed practice, so he's in the doghouse, but they say he'll get in very shortly.
Going to the dentist is punishment enough, isn't it?
That's very good. I'll tell you one other reason he's in the doghouse. He's been fumbling of recent. He's fumbled the ball more than any other backs, and Bo doesn't like that either.
They go to the wishbone now on 3rd down and a yard and a half. Tony Bowles is back. Tony has a touchdown, Michigan.
Number 16 is Ziegler. He's the free safety and will be the last one. You see a good block there on 29, the linebacker, Williams. Ziegler is only 5'9", 180. He's not big enough to tackle Bowles with a head of steam.
Extra point try from J.D. Carlson out of Ken Solom's hold. Seven 0 Michigan. 14:10 to go in the 1st half. One-on-one, he's an inviting target.
Well, that's another way for him to get the football to him.
High hanging kick. They don't want Thompson handling it. They kick it away to McGowan, and the freshman from Indianapolis, who is a speedster, gets a pretty good return on it, back to about the 33-yard line, and there the Hoosiers will go to work. Anthony Thompson just 1 touchdown away in his career from tying a mark that was first set by Glenn Davis back in the 40s and tied by Tony Dorsett at Pitt in the 70s. Mark being 59. And Anthony Thompson has 58 as he plays today. He has a total of 61, including the bowl games, but bowl games don't count in the NCAA record book because the simple reason that everybody doesn't get a chance to play at a bowl game. Here's Thompson searching the right side. There's his strength reflected there. He was hit, wrapped, but still twisting, picked up 2 yards. And with Eric Anderson and Trip Welburn getting a hold of your coattail, you got to be strong to do any twisting.
Thompson carried the ball 10 times in the 1st quarter and gained 42 yards. He's been productive and consistent.
2nd down and 7. Dave Schnell rolls it out. Will go to the sideline. Good to Thomas. Thomas tiptoes out just over the 42, and that's going to leave him a yard, at least a yard short of his 1st down. He had made his cut to the sidelines, and he was short of the marker. But the marker was on the other side of the field, I guess. He didn't pick up the one on the Michigan side over here.
Well, at 2, it was a 2nd down pass, and they were just trying to pick up part of it, and it was really strange. It almost looked as though Schnell was waiting for Thomas to turn it out and up, because he broke to the sideline, and Schnell didn't throw him the ball. He just kept waiting for him to do something. The defensive back didn't jump on it, so he went ahead and threw it to him.
All right, they'll go to a double tight end alignment now and probably give it on third down and a short yard to the quarterback, who will take it on a quarterback sneak. And maybe by the hair on his chinny chin will have the first down. Not a whole lot more, I'll tell you that. But he did get it. Jim Kimmerling, as we saw a little while ago, is the referee. The other guys in the striped shirts today, umpire is Bob Pickens, the head linesman Steve Payman, and the line judge is John Ask, field judge Michael Sheehan, Glenn Fortin, the side judge, and Ken Baker, the back judge. First down, Hoosiers, their own 43. Michigan leads 7-0 with 13 minutes to go in the first half. Schnell back on first down, deep down the middle, and incomplete. Pass intended for Scott McGowan, the speedster. Defending David Key. Key plays the boundary side cornerback position for Michigan. May be the fastest.
It certainly has to be the toughest.
Yeah.
There's Mallory. Mallory and Schembechler, good friends. In fact, Bo and Mallory were assistants together at Ohio State under Woody Hayes. And Mallory's had 3 sons come up here to the University of Michigan. 2 of them were captains for Bo, and now he's got a son who is a redshirt freshman, Kirk.
Second down and 10 for the Hoosiers. Snell throwing again, goes again to the sideline. This time it is caught by Eddie Thomas. Eddie Thomas is taken out by Lance Dutton, who is the quarterback on the field side. And Dutton got his arms around him and took him down short of the first down. It's a big difference in playing the field side versus the boundary side, and the officials looking at the location of the ball and the reserve here at Michigan plays on the special teams, son of the coach. It is third down and about 6 inches for Indiana. Last time they were in this fix, the quarterback Snell kept it. This time he gives to his fullback, and Cal Miller, who's a 225-pound junior from Fort Wayne, gets a good offensive line surge and takes it down to the 44-yard line for the first down.
Indiana has made a couple of first downs by really staying away from Anthony Thompson, and I think it's a good idea. They came out, we said he made over 42 yards, over 40 yards the first quarter. Come out the second quarter now, they've thrown the ball on first down, giving it to the fullback. That's the 6th rushing first down for Indiana.
Well, buys a little time on play action. Down the middle with it. Knocked down and almost intercepted by John Milligan. John, number 30.
Well, this is a good play here. It's kind of misdirection, a naked bootleg. Watch 87, the tight end, right in the middle of your screen. He's going to try and get the ball there, and Milligan just knocks it away, but that's a good call. Misdirection, get the ball away from Thompson. Saunders, 87, is going to release to the inside and then hook back to the inside. Milligan's going to get back and make the play, but it's a good call. Misdirection, get their minds off of Anthony Thompson.
Snell rolls it out and picks up a first down. Well, this is something I was talking to Lloyd Carr, the defensive coordinator of the Michigan Wolverines, about. And he, like Bo Schembechler, thinks Dave Schnell's a pretty good athlete.
Well, he's got more mobility probably than any other quarterback in the Big Ten. And for Indiana to win this game, they cannot sit and hand the ball to Anthony Thompson and say, win it for us. Schnell has got to be a part of this, and he's got to be able to scramble, and he's got to be able to throw the ball to his receivers and mainly to his tight ends. They have caught 25 balls between them coming into the ballgame.
Anthony Thompson, no place to go. Eric Anderson pins him right at the line of scrimmage. He'll fall forward for a yard or so. But Eric Anderson had the penetration from that inside linebacker position, and he's a good one. Talking about Mallory and his sons, Mike and Doug, the 2 older sons that have
played for Bo, were both captains and all Big Ten players. Kurt is an outstanding linebacker and will probably play some later on in his career. In fact, he's on the special teams now.
Now they got back. Michigan almost jumped, but they got back. Thompson tries to cut it off the right side, and he can't find any room. And once again, it is Mike Teeter from the middle guard position who is there. Lloyd Carr yesterday, in talking about the Indiana passing game and about Dave Schnell, had this comment.
Seems to me that they're much more of a controlled passing game, the bootlegs, and they're going to take what the defense gives them as opposed to being a team that drops back and throws, which they could do a year ago. And I think Schnell, to me, is the finest athlete playing quarterback in the Big Ten this year.
That's high praise, and we just saw the athletic ability of Schnell as he ran for the first down to maintain possession for Indiana, and now the Hoosiers have called a timeout. At 10 minutes and 55 seconds.
Indiana's got to be pleased with the amount of time they've kept the ball and kept it away from Michigan. They just haven't put any points on the board.
Like you said, Ernie Thompson catches the pass that they'd set up.
They had it set up just perfectly.
Yep. On third down out of the shotgun, Schnell now gets the heat. Can't get it away. That's a coverage sack. Mike Evans, you let that big sophomore from Roxbury, Mass. have that much time, and I'll guarantee you he'll come get you. He'll find you. He is really going to be a good football player, that number 92. A little temper flaring down there, but they busted up. Indiana now is going to have to go to the punt.
Well, Evans was rewarded with his first start ever here today. Last week against Iowa, he had 2 sacks. And just an outstanding young player. A lot of good talent on this Michigan club.
They're going to try the field goal. Bonnell is in. If, in fact, he's going to punt it or he's going to kick it, we'll see what he decides to do. But it's a big one. 55 yards. He's 1 out of 3 at this distance. It's on its way. And by golly, he nailed it. Dave Burnson points out Stoyanovich last year kicked 2 53-yarders. But all of a sudden, Bonnell steps in here, and he knocks 155 for a school record.
Well, Mallory has said that this kid is a good kicker, and obviously showed the confidence in him and asking him, first of all, on the sideline, can you make it? And then having the confidence says, all right, you say you can make it, let's go see if you can.
All right, Leroy Horde is on the field now. He is up front as a blocker with Bowles and Howard deep. So if he knocks somebody down, and they won't have a chance to run it back, and it may be too bad, because if Leroy had decked somebody, he'd have probably got out of Bo's doghouse and got a chance to come out and play. First down. This is Leggett. And needs to get his head up a little bit, because he just put his head down and ran right into the stack and got about 3 yards. Do you know him?
Is a former Michigan
faintly familiar
All-American tackle?
Oh, it's the mustache that fooled me. Here's Jack Root.
Well, we're with Dan Deerdorf, who was an All-American tackle here at Michigan. And Dan, we showed a picture that we wanted to show you right now of when you played here. We were wondering if maybe you could autograph it for us.
I'd be glad to, and long sideburns were really in there.
Long sideburns in here, but let's talk about this game. So far, your impressions, having watched it.
Well, I mean, it's a typical Michigan game. I mean, they're going to try to win it on the ground, and so far they're grinding it out pretty effectively, although I guess Skrepenik's down on the field now. And defensively, it looks like Indiana has got some good things going, but they get a couple first downs, and then they self-destruct. But some field goal, huh? 55 yards and hits the net.
And good news now, because Skrepenik is up and he's walking off.
Yeah, that's vital to the Michigan ground game. But hey, it's Bo Schembechler ball between the tackles, and of course, as a tackle, I kind of like that.
Yeah, Skrepenik is the Jack.
Pardon me?
Skrepenek's the only guy in the stadium that can make Dan look small.
Did you hear that? Skrepenik is the only guy in the stadium that can make you look small.
And he does. And to tell you the truth, back here in 1970, I was the only player on the team over 240 pounds.
But we're back to playing now, guys.
Second down and 7. And Taylor runs out of time. It's Brian Honeycutt, 96, a junior from Indianapolis, that brings him down.
Well, Novak, the defensive coordinator, says he's got some great athletes. They're young and they're going to get better. Honeycutt is one of them, just never gets up from the left side of your screen, runs all the way around, and as you mentioned before, another coverage sack. The coverage downfield was good. Protection was good enough to get rid of the ball. Taylor can't expect that much time from his pass protection.
Third down. Back goes Michael. Deep drop this time. Pass is batted up into the air and incomplete. Oh, the Hoosiers show some spunk with that defensive unit. Nolan Harrison, the man that slapped that thing aside, and that's going to put Michigan in punting circumstance and should provide fair field position for Indiana.
Well, the Hoosier defense has played 6 games, and they have yet to give up over 300 yards in total offense. Young and aggressive, good athletes, getting after it.
Granderson, he's a tailback. Standing at the 41. Stapleton should hit this one around the 6 or 7 yard line. Blocked it, got a piece of it. Number 38, Mike Dumas, the cornerback, came in and got a piece of it for the Indiana Hoosiers, and Indiana gets the ball at the Michigan 42. The ball rolled 24 yards after Dumas got a piece of it.
Well, Indiana shifts around, jumps around. They've already blocked 2 punts. Dumas has already blocked 2 this year and 6 in his career. Take a look at number 38 from the far right side of the defense. Just runs around Welburn. That's his 7th block punt of his career, and he's only a junior.
I'll tell you something else, too, though. Stapleton took his sweet time getting rid of the ball. He didn't help himself. Schnell on a roll right. Slips and goes down. He got pressure from Alex Marshall. Alex had to lead the ball game twice last week down in Iowa because of stingers in the neck area, nerves. And he's having a good day today. This week on ABC's Monday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings. The offense got Herschel Walker, of course, but I think the thing that's making this Vikings team so tough is the defense. So they'll be going off to the Meadowlands in New Jersey to face the New York Giants. The Giants are knocking some folks around this year, too.
I think the Vikings lead the league in sacks. They had 8 a couple weeks ago. One ball game.
That's probably not terribly good news for Phil Simms. This is Cal Miller, the fullback. And Miller won't get much out of it.
And if Michigan can stop him defensively, it'd be a big series.
It's third down and long, 3rd and 14 as Dave Schnell throws out of the shotgun down the middle, long into the corner. No. Pass intended for Scott McGowan. Welburn's deep for Smith's punt. 4th kick today by Mackey. Again, he gets it very high, and Welburn calls a fair catch and makes it. That might really jack him up. Well, the offense was not able to do anything with the ball when the defense gave it to him on the Michigan side of the field. This is Tony Bowles, and so much for that philosophy. It is now a foot race to the end zone. 91 yards, no flags, touchdown.
Here, 73 Doring. Watch him come. He just went across the screen. Now this is just all talent right here. He's going to cut back across the grain. Dumas, number 38, is going to be outrun. He's a sprinter. The high school sprint champion. Nobody's going to catch him.
The record is 94 yards. A fellow named Woolfolk. Remember Butch? But that was impressive by Bowles. The extra point by Carlson is good. And so Indiana is burned badly as Tony Bowles
takes the wind out of their sails by running that back and going ahead 14-3.
Carlson's kick is a high sailor, and this time Anthony Thompson gets it. They kicked away from him the first 3 times, but Thompson gets it finally and comes back to the 31. And here's Roger Twybo.
Keith.
Pitch in all of college football, Death Valley. Ooh. First down for Indiana at their own 31 now, with 6:39 to go in the first half. Anthony Thompson. Wolverines are handling him. Bobby Abrams, the outside linebacker, right there. Michigan Wolverine defense is not going to let you have much time to go searching for a place to run.
No, they're tough. They aren't outstanding superstars. You've never heard of many of them. In fact, only Welburn has probably gotten enough publicity to be considered All-American. But none of these guys are in the top 15 of tacklers in the Big Ten. They're just all good.
On second down and 11, that pass is incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Walker. And Abrams with his second play. Anthony Thompson in his last 5 carries, -1, picked up 3, gained 1, held no gain, and lost 1. So you can see that they have now figured out how to handle Anthony. That's what we have for you at halftime. We had an early start today. I felt like I was going to milking at the barn when I got up this morning. Whew. It was scarcely daylight.
It's a lot better than waiting around all day, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. 5:56. And third down and close to 12. Snell's pass, short hopped it in front of Anthony Thompson. That's the first time they have tried to throw to Thompson today. But David didn't have a whole lot of druthers that time because John Milligan was climbing his frame, and he had to get rid of it. So once again, the Michigan defense does its job.
Well, here's Milligan right here. He's going to just blitz right up the middle. And the pass protection, they're concerned about the twist of the defensive line. The lineman twists, and Milligan comes right up the middle, puts pressure, and calls the incompletion.
And so Mackie Smith is in the punt for a 5th time. Not so long, but very high. And Trip Welburn, realizing that he can get pretty good field position with a fair catch, does it. And accepts it at the 39-yard line. That's only a 31 yards in distance, but it offers no return. Washington, UCLA, they're down south at the Rose Bowl in the western part of the country for some of you, and those of you in the rest of the country, in the Midwest and the East, will be seeing Ohio State at Minnesota. And for Ohio State and Minnesota, it's an important ball game because both those teams have potential of postseason play. UCLA has been the big surprise of the year with their lack of success. Michael Taylor wants to go deep for McMurtry. And McMurtry trying to come back to the ball. It was underthrown, and he could not get around Mike Middleton, and the home folks hoot a little bit because they thought that Middleton kept him from making the turn back inside. McMurtry, however, I might say, was well covered by Mike Middleton on that play.
He was well covered. Taylor stood back there in the pocket quite a while waiting for McMurtry to get downfield. Ouch. He takes a good hit there.
Ooh. That's a lick right where you want to put the hamburger after the game. Inside, they run the ball with Tony Bowles, who apparently has shaken off his stinger. And he picks up about 5:28 to go in the first half. It hasn't been all fun and games around this campus this week. Coach Schembechler explains it this way.
Academicians, you know, they can assign examination times anytime they want. So the most convenient time is 4 to 6. Well, unfortunately, that's when we practice football. And you can go into a prof and say, well, you know, could I take it later? Well, you got to understand that football practice is not a significant enough excuse to change the test date. So we've had a real rough week in preparation for this one.
Yeah, there's more to it than just playing the game, isn't it?
It sure is, and Michigan is obviously one of the leaders in getting people to go to school, graduating them on time, and Schembechler runs a good program in that way.
Indiana gets hit here with a face mask. For the incomplete forward pass, Taylor didn't throw it well for McMurtry, but this penalty will help him.
Take a look at the upper right there. The Indiana man, the defensive lineman, I can't see who it is, but right corner of the screen.
It is.
The entire momentum of this game changed to Indiana when they blocked that punt, and then back to Michigan when Indiana didn't do anything with a good field position, could have gone down, either taken the lead or at least tied the score. Michigan got that long run by Bowles.
It is not an automatic first down, so it'll be third down and short. Michael Taylor keeps it, turns the corner with it, and picks up the first down to about the Indiana 41. He looked like he was going to belly it, and the fullback made the block. Then he had a trail man, Jefferson, but he wound up keeping it and picked up the first down.
Still run that option.
First down, Hoosier 41 now. Bowles going in motion. Taylor steps back, throws, has a man wide open. Callaway, he's got a first down. And Chris is taken down at about the Indiana time remaining there in the first half of play. Michigan leading 14-3, threatening again now. First down at the Hoosier 27. Bowles. Today shooting the breeze and interviewing him, and he showed no signs.
Smiling and laughing, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he was all giggles. So this is Tony Bowles, and he's in there, touchdown. Terrific run. That was a tougher run than the 91-yarder. 3 touchdowns on the day for Tony Bowles. Big day. And that puts a rather grim visage up on the Indiana side of the field. Kicked by Carlson, good. Book too, it'll help his imagery in the Heisman Trophy chase. But you can't be a one-man gang, you know, not against Michigan. That's Thompson. That right there is a perfect example of why he is a great running back and why he will surely go on to 41-yard line.
I still do admire Walter Payton and how he worked on it off the field, and it really helped me a lot.
Mike right now 21-3. Snell on a rollout. Pass is away. Pass caught with the fullback Miller. Miller's got a first down. As he's no, he's not either. He's back to the original. I learned that the hard way the first time I did a game many years ago. I got 419 letters informing me of that. Down the middle, Snell quickly to the tight end Saunders, and Saunders on fourth down and a long one. Thompson, he's got it. He's got the first down. Clock stops now for the movement of the chains at the Michigan 47. Out of the shotgun, Snell. Nobody to throw the ball to. And so he is taken down by Mike Evans and Alex Marshall.
Fifth-year senior, all of his receivers have gone on, and he's still around working with young freshmen and sophomores.
Intercepted by Milligan. John Milligan, a junior from Clinton, Michigan, entered because they were trying to get it down where they might get a three-pointer out of it. Now here's Michigan at the Indiana 40 with a chance to add on to their lead as Michael Taylor drops back and throws good. First down, Indiana 28, and they're now in Carlson's range. 12 seconds to go. Well, let us see what happens here on first down and 12 seconds. There's your sideline. Tony Bowles out of bounds, short of the 20. So they pick up about 8 yards, and now it'll bring in Carlson. So they put J.D. in a little better position than he was. Field goal. Ain't bad. Plenty of leg. And good. 11 straight field goals for J.D. Carlson, a sophomore from Tallahassee, Florida. That is a new Michigan record. Half a play at Michigan State. Here in New York coming back. Of the University of Michigan. Wolverines will have the ball to start the second half, leading by a score of 24-3. He does have a leg. Look at that thing. He knocked it way up in the air and at least 6 yards deep in the end zone. Tony Bowles will have none of it. And Michigan one more time will start from Illinois down there. Right now, the Indiana Hoosiers need some big plays from both sides of the ball, offensively as well as defensively. And it's the defense on the field right now as Michigan sends out the offensive unit. With Tony Bowles at tailback, Leroy Horde has still not been in the backfield. He didn't practice Tuesday because of root canal, and he has been on the kick.
That's a good number for a ball game, an entire game.
Second down and 8. Little play action, and Michael Taylor, the option quarterback, turns the corner, crosses. Oh, they're going to mark him out. Looks like the linesman has put his foot down. Alan Jefferson joins the backfield now on third down and short. And out of the wishbone, Taylor keeps it and picks up the first down. And giving Illinois all they want in the first quarter. It's early. This is Bowles. And the Hoosiers play it well. They rack him as the cornerback on that side of Michigan at the Indiana 47-yard line. Callaway goes in motion to join McMurtry. They give the ball instead to Bowles, and he's got a hole 4 yards wide. Right up the pipe and runs for another first down. And you got a penalty flag. McMurtry coming downfield. Up there at the top of the screen now, you see McMurtry coming around. No, you don't see it. But it's a personal foul. That was a first down, so it makes it first down and 25 now for Michigan. As the ball comes back to the Wolverine 48-yard line. Michael Taylor, a lot of time. Pass too high for Callaway, who was well covered.
It's happened that much.
I've yet to see it.
Yeah, but there is one case where it happened.
Second down and 25. Taylor still got it. Almost popped out of there, but 29, Paul Williams, one of the inside linebackers for Indiana, stayed at home and made the play, and Michael Taylor comes up a little gimpy, but he'll stay.
Well, he almost came off. He was limping for 2 or 3 steps, and he had decided to come off, and then he's off, and Elvis Gerbach gets on. He may not get back on the field for a few games. That's what happened a while ago.
Taylor's pass is underneath, and Tony Bowles just flat dropped it. He would not have picked. As Kona gets it very high, maybe that's what the Michigan coaches wanted, and the ball bounces into the end zone. Once the cover man has run into the end zone, walked into the end zone, he cannot bat the ball. And Bo's benefited because they've all been pretty dadgum good football players.
And Bo was partly responsible for Mallory getting the Indiana job. He and Bobby Knight recommended Mallory to IU.
Anthony Thompson on that carry, and Thompson now on the day has 61 yards on 19 carries. He has never gained 100 yards against the University of Michigan defense. And he is yet to stick the ball across the goal line, of course. He is one short of tying the all-time career touchdown record of 59, held by Glenn Davis back in the 40s. Tony Dorsett in the 70s. Whistle stop him. Most of the time, this has to do with the offense procedure, and it's against them. Because it was the referee, Jim Kimberling, who blew the whistle and blew the flag.
It's got to be frustrating for the senior, David Schnell. He's had good receivers in the past. Ernie Jones was an
A matter of an inch or two in Kentucky that cost him that ball game. Schnell hums one down the middle. It's intercepted by Veda Murray. Murray playing center field, intercepts it at the 41-yard line for the Michigan Wolverines. He threw that ball high, running out to his left, never got his feet under him, never squared up. It sailed away.
Watch the very top. He's going to overthrow his receiver. And Murray just laying around playing center field gets the interception. Murray has had 2 outstanding days. They call them hat tricks, where he's gotten an interception, a fumble recovery, and blocked a kick in one ball game. He's done that twice this year.
Last week down at Iowa.
One of them was last week, the other UCLA.
UCLA game.
Yeah.
Tony Bowles almost popped out of the air, but they'll hold him after a couple of yards. And here's Roger Twybo.
Keith, LSU had jumped out to a 14-0 lead, but Tennessee loves to grind it out. 17 of their 19 touchdowns this year are on the ground as redshirt freshman Chuck Webb takes it in from the yard out to tie it at 14. And Jeff George with a 45-yard touchdown pass to Howard Griffith made it 9-6. Let's go back to Keith Jackson.
Hey, Roger. And second down and 7 for Michigan. From the Indiana 37, Michael Taylor's pass behind Chris Callaway. He was very sharp throwing the ball last week. Not so sharp today. Now, I don't know whether it's his fault or whether it's the receiver's fault, but they're not hooking up. He's 7 out of 14 now, 90 yards.
Well, I think you got to give a little credit to the Indiana defense. They came in, as I mentioned earlier, number 2 in the nation in pass defense, but they have not really played a lot of good passing teams. They did play Northwestern, who is leading the Big Ten in passing, but they play that pass coverage pretty well.
That ball was thrown behind him. 105,989 here at homecoming weekend. That's the 12th largest crowd ever. In 89 consecutive games, they've had 100,000 or more. Well, I don't know what. And it's at the 34 now, where it's a first down for the Michigan Wolverines. They lead 24-3. And up the middle goes Leggett, the fullback. Whoa, you know what? He's lucky to get up and walk around after that because his leg was pinned by the defensive man. Callaway ran into him, and you can see that leg wobble. But he was able to collapse it and avoid it. Wolverines sitting on the ball here in the second half of play. You got 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. Holds again. That little movement, that little sideways step, and then comes right back hard into the hole. And he again has a nice gain out of this. Troy Mason makes the tackle for it. Second down and 6. Bowles just no deception at all in that instance. It was just jawbone football, and he runs into a bunch of white shirts.
Senior on the starting defensive unit, so Bill Mallory's crew defensively are going to be around for a while.
Third down, about 4.5. To the corner of the end zone, McMurtry. Penalty flag, pass interference through the elbow. It's on Dumas.
Comes in motion. You have both wide receivers to this side. Taylor's throwing it to the outside, one of the two. That's McMurtry, who is 6'3". Makes a nice reception. Dumas is the man that's beat.
McMurtry getting the ricochet touchdown for the Wolverines. That shows you some concentration, doesn't it?
His 4th touchdown reception of the year. He's a fine player, too.
Carlson with the extra point. Good. So what started out to be pass interference winds up touchdown. And now the Michigan Wolverines really have things in hand. Foul. As Dumas plays McMurtry. There goes the official toward the holster, and here comes the flag. Now McMurtry stays with it and makes the catch and gets his touchdown.
Dumas doing everything he can. Just McMurtry is 3 inches taller and can out-jump him.
They assess the penalty on the kickoff, which moves Michigan up to the 50. At 8 minutes and 34 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. The Hoosiers are hard up against it right now. High hanging kick by Carlson. 9-yard line. A fair catch is called by Scott McGowan.
I think that's a mistake by a true freshman. McGowan is a freshman. He had plenty of time. There are times and situations where you want to do that, but that is the first road trip to Michigan. Lower left of your screen. He had some room to catch the ball and get upfield.
When you're 17, 18 years old, 106,000 people, it's kind of hard to swallow sometimes. David Schnell whips one good to Anthony Thompson, and he's caught and dragged down at about the 14-yard line. David Key, the boundary side cornerback, making the tackle. Anthony Thompson being checked again by the Michigan defense. In talking to Bo Schembechler yesterday, he said, well, if he gets it 40 times, you probably gain 150, 160 yards. I don't know that he's going to get it 40 times in the first place.
He's right up there in the rankings of the NCAA nationally.
Schnell rolls it out, goes good to Thomas. And Thomas has a first down for Indiana at the 34-yard line. So the Hoosiers now get a little room on that pass completion. Eddie Thomas, a sophomore out of Fort Knox, Kentucky. It's a young team. The wideouts, for example, for Indiana, you got Ernie Thompson and Eddie Thomas and Ray Potts all playing at that flanker spot. 2 sophomores and a redshirt freshman. You got a true freshman, Scott McGowan, and sophomore Derek Mays at the split end position. Schnell gives to Thompson. Penetrating again, it's Mike Teeter, who has had a huge game today at the middle guard position for Michigan. Here's Jack Aruden.
Keith, every stadium has its rules. You know, they won't allow open containers. They won't allow coolers. Certainly we don't need an umbrella here. But here's a first of any stadium I've ever been to. They don't allow marshmallows. Believe it or not, I'm violating the law inside the University of Michigan right here with these. You can hear the fans. They'd like to have these, but personally, I think they're for eating. The reason that they won't let them have them is because they toss them out into the field and it gets a little sticky.
Yeah, and I heard Millie Schembechler talking about that yesterday on a radio show. As David Schnell throws high, incomplete, intended for Thomas. Coverage by Dotton. But Millie was saying that they had wet the marshmallows and rolled them together and made what effectively amounts to a hard snowball, and they were throwing them at each other, and somebody's going to get hurt. But I know what you're up to, Aruden. You just got an early plane. You showing those marshmallows, hoping they'll throw you out of the stadium. 6 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. The Wolverines have it in hand, 31-3, looking for their 6th win of the season. How about Willie? Have you seen Willie around today, Jack?
No, actually, Willie was not allowed to come into the stadium. They're still mascotless here.
I thought he was going to try. Schnell with a lot of time, finally runs out of time. Alex Marshall was ridden out of the play by the blocking turned and came back inside, and it's the 4th sack of the day by the Michigan defense.
Well, here's the pass rush. I was looking downfield. There was nobody open. Everybody had a defensive man right next to him. And you see he had plenty of time to complete a pass. Just nobody open to throw the ball to.
But there are 10 Wolverines up front. Nope, 9 now as Leggett steps back. Mackey Smith giving him a couple of steps. And he finally punched it away, and Trip Welburn took it. Did not call a fair catch and tried to pop one out. It's a 41-yard punt and a 5-yard return.
Nobody comes. Everybody turns away and goes away from you, then you can run it, but you better be sure. That time there was nobody pressuring him, and he was just thinking about it 2 or 3 different times.
It is first down for Michigan now with Alan Jefferson and Jared Bunch. Split back formation for the Wolverines at 5:50 to go in the 3rd quarter, and Michael Taylor throws to the sidelines. Chris Callaway steps for the marker. Did they give it to him? Looks like they did. First down. Well, Josh Butlin, the punter at Michigan State, George Perlis told us before the Michigan State game that his guy had a green light anytime he felt like it, and looked like he had that kind of freedom with people peeling away and going the other way. Take off and run with it. Yeah, but Butlin is a big dude. Now, he bench presses over 400 pounds and could get out there and muscle with you, but Mackey Smith's not that big.
Michigan's offense doing a number on Indiana defense today.
That's Jefferson, who had one big run today, 41 yards. Tonight, Game 4 of the World Series out of Candlestick Park in San Francisco. And talking about being up against the wall, the Giants are there. Hayes lead 3-0, hit 7 home runs. Man hurt, Mark Hagan, Indiana. Looks like a leg injury. Hagan is today, so he remains one of the very active members of the Hoosier defense. It is 2nd down and 8 for Michigan. Taylor again dropping to throw it, gets some heat from the backside, but gets his pass away to Bunch, and Bunch fumbles the ball out of bounds. Short of the first down, and here's Roger.
Thank you, Keith. LSU.
Boy, is that a huge turnaround in that ball game, huh? Tennessee goes to the clubhouse just sky high.
Another running back coming out of Tennessee. They just keep coming up with
it. Oh, they always have speed down there. I'm happy for Johnny. He's had some hard years. Good guys. 3rd down. Run the ball, and will come up short as Bunch tried a little delay, tried to get it outside and didn't go, and here's Jack.
Well, Keith, we checked on Mark Hagan's condition. He just got the wind knocked out of him. In fact, he's standing up behind the line markers now, waiting for his chance to get back in, so he's perfectly all right.
That's good news. Michigan's going to have to kick it away now on 4th down and 3 as Kona comes back to punt. Stapleton was doing the punting as Kona in for his 2nd punt. His first one today was good for 45 yards. Granderson is deep.
That was Kona to punt for Michigan.
Oh, he's got another high one. Can't get it to turn over, though, so it'll kick back upfield. Did not go out yet. Wolverines finally hit it and knock it dead, and it's not a very good kick. 22-yarder at 4:19, so Indiana gets pretty good field position out of it. It's a day for Colorado to be a little careful, too, you know.
It's Colorado start
at the 28-yard line. First down for the Indiana Hoosiers, who need some thunder and lightning now to put some excitement back into this contest. David Schnell back. Loops one to the sidelines. Caught by Thomas, slips and goes down in front of Todd Plate, who will get credit for the tackle, and he's going to be a little bit short of a first down. They give his progress out to the 36. Needs a yard and a half. Anthony Thompson shakes two Michigan would-be tacklers. Brent White, the first one to have a piece of him, shook him off and picks up the first down.
Indiana's offense is not conducive to coming from behind. As you take a look at what we got coming up later today, Washington is at UCLA, Ohio State at Minnesota. Michigan is more of a ball control. Indiana more of a ball control type of offense with Anthony Thompson.
Get behind by where they are now. The hill gets pretty steep. Schnell runs an option. Runs right into Alex Marshall, and Marshall takes him down with authority at about the 41-yard line. So they're trying a little bit of everything here, and it is not working.
I'll tell you, the outside linebackers for Michigan, Alex Marshall and Bobby Abrams, are really outstanding players. You don't know hardly any of these guys, but coming into the ball game, Michigan had 23 sacks. That was 7 more than they had of all of last year. I think today they already have 4 or 5 sacks, 4 sacks. Most of those are by linebackers and defensive backs.
Snell throws in a hurry, trying to give Thomas a decent chance at it, and Eddie pulls it in front of Todd Plate, but he's going to be a couple of yards short of his first down. So that gives you some idea of the problem Indiana's got, because he threw that ball long before Thomas had made his cut. The rushing game for Indiana today, Anthony Thompson has 65 yards. The rest of the Indiana folks on the ground are -6. 3rd and 3. They go back to their horse, and the spot looks good.
Indiana is a predominantly I formation team. It's not a good formation to throw the ball out of. It's not a good formation to try and catch up when you're behind, as Indiana is here. It's a great for a tailback that can take the ball, give him the ball deep, cut one way or the other. It's great for Thompson, but it's not good for catching up.
That is first down. Michigan 49. Snell buys a little time, gets it away, and then realizes that here comes Alex Marshall again. And sure enough, Marshall hitting him just as he releases, puts Snell on his back one more time. Marshall's only a sophomore, so there's going to be a lot of folks on the Michigan football schedule in the future going to get sick and tired of looking at 59.
This defense had 9 starters returned from last year, and there's only 2 seniors on the entire defensive unit now, so 9 of these players will come back again next year.
Give you some idea of the frustration created for Indiana by the Michigan defense. The Hoosiers have been in Michigan territory 6 times in the ball game, and they have 3 points. That's White putting the pressure on. Here's a good one, tight end. Saunders down the middle, makes the catch, goes to the Michigan 30, first down Hoosiers. Saunders is 6'5", 240-pounder. He is from Michigan, Mount Clemens.
Here's a look at the remainder of Michigan's schedule and what they've done up to this point. They lost their first game against Notre Dame and then went out to UCLA and really run through everybody up to this point. Purdue and Illinois, Minnesota, and Ohio State. Big game would be Illinois.
Now throwing on the run, throws to the other tight end, Todd Walker. And Walker, a 240-pounder, reels it in for about an 8-yard pickup. Here's Jack Aruden.
Keith, a couple of weeks ago, we saw this guy come off the field at the Michigan State-Michigan game with an injured knee. J.J. Grant, the linebacker that does so well for the Michigan Wolverines. What's the status now, J.J.?
Well, right now, we're taking it 1 week at a time. It was a partial tear in my anterior cruciate ligament, and hopefully I'll be back for the Illinois game.
Well, we may see him at that Illinois game, Keith.
Andrew Bowen, Lloyd Carr in particular would like to see him in the Illinois game.
Well,
Anthony Thompson dragged down by Sylvester Stanley that time. Some of the reserves now starting to get some play. Stanley backs up Chris Hutchinson. You know, Bob, we talked a lot about Hutchinson in that opening game against Notre Dame, and he played very well.
And he's continued to play well. I mean, if he had not played well since then, he would not be in there. Stanley, as you see there on your screen, he's a true freshman, as is Hutchinson. And Hutchinson's been a starter. I mean, Hutchinson's a redshirt freshman, but this is his first year playing. But he's played very well.
Indiana now looking at 3rd down and 3. Option play. Snell keeps it, drives and dives for the 20, and he is denied by Mike Evans, number 92. And Eric Anderson, 37.
Well, you're down by 28 points. You need touchdowns, not field goals, so there's no question that they'll go for it.
Need a yard. Thomas bringing a play in from the sidelines. Players used in the game as we wind down the 3rd quarter. IU has used 48 players, Michigan only 37 so far, and the quarter is over. 31-3 Michigan, and we'll be back with more college football between the Hoosiers and the Wolverines after this message and a word from our ABC station. To the final quarter we go, 31-3 Michigan. Indiana with the football, 4th down and a yard. They're down at the Michigan 21-yard line, and they're trying to break that string.
That one touchdown that was allowed on the ground was back against UCLA. They've only allowed one.
That was a 1-yard dive over the top by Kevin Williams. Got to have a yard here to keep it. 4th down. Anthony Thompson has it. It looked for a second that he was going to be held, but that's the magic of Thompson. He does not run into the stack.
Michigan's up 31-3. But look at the total plays. Indiana's run 14 more plays. Total yardage is heavy in favor of Michigan, 384 to 166. In time of possession, Indiana has dominated there. But look at this, the average yards per play. Michigan's had fewer plays, but done a lot more with it.
Snell keeps it on an option, and David is down to the 12-yard line. From the 20 to the 12, that's 8 yards. His biggest run of the day. Save one early on in the ball game when he ran down the far sidelines to pick up a 1st down. Crowd today, 105,989, close to 106. Yes, the cash register is ringing. Remember, they get down in this neighborhood now. Thompson has a chance to tie the NCAA all-time career touchdown record of 59. Here he goes. Knocked out of bounds at the 6. That's going to be a 1st down. So now it's 1st and goal, Indiana. And they will put the ball.
You look at
the Michigan 6.
The rushing touchdowns for Indiana. Thompson has 17 and Snell has 1. 18 rushing touchdowns, only 3 passing touchdowns for the Hoosiers. So of the 21 touchdowns, Thompson has 17.
Easiest play in the whole day to call right here.
You know who's going to get it.
To the 3. Picked up about 3 yards.
Well, we showed you that the 3rd quarter stats showing somebody's hurt for Michigan.
Spencer.
Showed you that 3rd quarter graphics where Indiana was dominating the number of plays, but they're not doing a lot with it. A lot of runs into the middle of the line. They control the ball well, but not getting much done when they run it.
So another inside linebacker injured on the play. Mark Spencer, you've got a timeout. The NCAA career touchdown mark. Cal Miller is the fullback now, lined up in front of Anthony Thompson, senior from Terre Haute, Indiana. There he goes up the middle. 1 goal line. No, they won't give it to him. He's going to be a yard short. It'll be 3rd down and goal. He was close.
Thompson is great at not going down when he gets hit the first time, and he runs, like we've stated all day, predominantly inside the tackles. A lot of the inside stuff. Watch him, he's going to get hit right here, and he doesn't stay down. He just fights for more yardage. If he's not in, he's on the 2-inch line.
Third down. Touchdown. Anthony Thompson is in the record book. 59 career touchdowns during the regular season, ties him with Dorsett and Davis. That's a total of 62 in his career, including bowl touchdowns.
Well, they got the touchdown for Thompson, but as far as winning the ball game, that's taking far too long to get out and score a touchdown.
62 career touchdowns, incidentally, is a Big Ten conference record. Scott Bonnell for the extra point. Chris Schwartz holds it. The kick is good. And so at 12 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the game on this October. All right, that's one for Anthony Thompson. The next one will be a new record in the NCAA annals. But right now, the Hoosiers are down by 21 points. Their pride is stung. They'd like to come back, storming back, if you would, and get themselves back in the hunt here. But they've got to give the ball up now to Michigan, which has just been dominant throughout the entire ball game.
And that drive is very typical of the way Indiana has to score. They have to take their time, eat up a lot of the clock. 16 plays over 4 minutes. They don't have the speed at the wide receiver position to score quickly.
All the experience. High and long by Bonnell. Nope. Bowles will put it down. Michigan will come out to the 20, and we go to Roger Twyble. Down at Iowa City. Trying to handle the shenanigans of Hayden Fry and the Hawkeyes. First down for Michigan now at the 20, and Michael Taylor is still in at quarterback. Jared Bunch, the fullback, and he's back playing for the second time in a month. First time in a month. In for his coming off a sore leg, and he looks all right. Let's pause 5 seconds here to let our ABC stations identify themselves. We have not seen Leroy Horde except on the kickoff team today because he didn't practice Tuesday. Nobody bothered to tell us that yesterday because I talked to him and he seemed very healthy, but he had a root canal Tuesday. I guess that's why he hasn't played today. But he didn't practice. This is Alan Jefferson. Jefferson has had one big run today. He has another one up across the 40 to the 42. So Jefferson is getting some playing time, and he's already shown us, I think, if he gets some playing time to knock some of the rust off, he's going to be a very resourceful fellow to have around. He's got 83 yards on 6 carries.
Bunch with a nice block. Walker gets a block. Jefferson is the third-team tailback. Shows you the depth that Schembechler has. Starting tailbacks are Bowles and Horde. Horde switching over to fullback with Bunch was injured early in the year, but those two guys combined for over 2,000 yards last year. Horde and Bowles.
This is Jefferson again, and again a big hole on the left side, and another big gain by Alan Jefferson, who stands 6 feet, weighs 205 pounds, and he gets up and he says, "Hey, 106,000 of you, I'm having the biggest day of my career, make some noise."
Well, that's 7 carries for 97 yards for Jefferson. He's had problems here. He was injured a lot last year. He's had some injury problems, but an outstanding high school player, and as I mentioned earlier, a great track star in high school.
First down for the Wolverines, Indiana 43-yard line. Here goes Bunch, the fullback, bouncing off the stack, and is finally rolled up just about the line of scrimmage. You know what? Tony McGee is in the ball game, number 82. I'm very, very much surprised at that.
Well, I am too, and there's 82 in the middle of your screen. McGee is a true freshman, tight end. Schembechler and the staff really wanted to redshirt young McGee, and the reason we're surprised is that this game is in hand. The backup, Diebold, was injured during the week in practice, and he only had one tight end, and surprised that he's using it.
Wide open. Touchdown, Michigan, Derek Alexander.
Going to run a straight streak right up the field. He's going to run by these two defensive backs. I think they kind of got lulled to sleep with all the running that Michigan was doing. He just runs straight by them.
Yeah, they don't do the up and out and the hook and go and all that kind of stuff anymore, do they? They just let the burners go.
Just burn them on.
Michigan Wolverines just put this baby in the locker. At 10:26 to play in a ball game, it's now 38-10, Michigan.
Now Chevrolet offers cash back on even more new Chevy trucks. Up to $1,250 cash back, or six.
With the ball game in your pocket, he's burning a year of eligibility. Wanted a redshirt.
He hasn't played all year.
Nope.
And he's a true freshman. He must feel as though Diebold, who was the backup tight end, is not going to be able to come back next week. Probably. And he needs to get some experience for McGee.
He may need him. He has another freshman named Mark Burkholder, too, from Traverse City, Michigan. And a lot of us thought it might be Burkholder that would play today in case they had to go to one of the freshmen rather than McGee. But not so. McGee, who is rated by the coaching staff the better of the receivers at that position among the young people. Steve Goodrich is back now for Indiana along with Anthony Thompson. And Goodrich has the ball. He is a tailback. And he comes up across the 25 and out to about the 26-yard line. 10:21 to go in the ball game. And after this is done, you'll see the Washington Huskies at UCLA. Ohio State is up at Minnesota. Indiana beat Minnesota last week by 10 points, but they were more dominant than that.
They've got a Thompson up there that's a pretty good runner.
Yes, they do. Bo argues, however, that Ohio State's running game, their rushing game, may be as good as anybody's in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Carlos Snow and big line. All right, the Hoosiers from the 26-yard line. David Schnell back. Goes underneath to Anthony Thompson and loses his footing, and the knee hits at the 29. So he's down right there. That's good for 3. Hawkeyes are playing Northwestern this week. The opponents for the Illini next week. One of the games that we'll have for you. Duke beating Georgia Tech at halftime. The rumors about Steve Spurrier continue, but I don't think Steve is going to do anything about going to his alma mater, Florida, until he finds out what the NCAA might be doing with the Gators and their future. That pass is thrown right to, a beautiful pass thrown to Eddie Thomas. And Eddie reels it in and picks up a first down for the Hoosiers. That's as good as you can throw that ball in moving to your left for a right-hander.
Thomas's 6th reception of the day for 60 yards. He's the only wide receiver coming back for the Hoosiers that had any kind of playing experience last year at all.
And he's only a sophomore.
Yeah.
Double wide now, bottom of the picture. On the open side of the field. Schnell gives it to Anthony Thompson. He tries to cut back into traffic. And he gets taken down at about the 40. 2-yard pickup.
You know, Keith, Thompson doesn't appear to have that outstanding burst of speed that can really get him away from somebody. He's more of a power back, a guy that can run inside, certainly very durable. He's played for 4 years at Indiana, and as we mentioned earlier, 36 starts. He's gained over 100 yards 26 times, but doesn't seem to have that great burst that you can run away from people with.
No, and with his frame, he's a 6-footer. He weighs 210 pounds, and I don't think he can carry much more weight than he's got. He's honed pretty sharply. He might carry another 10 pounds as he tours. But a 6-foot frame is only so much. There's a sharp, crisp throw into Todd Walker, the tight end. And Walker will pick up a first down for the Hoosiers down around the Michigan 47-yard line. The Wolverines right now being a little bit permissive because at 8.5 minutes to go in the game, they're leading 38-10. So they're going to play conservatively. At the conclusion of the game today, we'll have a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from each team. And for the 19th consecutive year, the Chevrolet Scholarship Program, $1,000 will be donated to the General Scholarship Fund of each of the universities. A little dump off to the fullback Miller. Cal Miller was able to get his arm down, and this again one of those little things born out of experience. But Cal heard the hoofbeats coming, and he got that left arm down to protect that rib cage. Otherwise, he was going to take a lick, and he would have felt that one for a week. Anthony Thompson so far, 29 carries, 81 yards and a touchdown. He is the first IU player to rush for 80-plus against Bo Schembechler's Michigan team. He's yet to get to 100. He's got 19 yards to go. He carries on that play, and he got just about half of that 19. That's a first down for the Hoosiers. So are we to see here history made? In 2 instances, Thompson could bust through for 100 yards, and he could get a second touchdown, which would be a new career touchdown record in NCAA Division I-A competition. From the 34-yard line of Michigan. Snell on first down, pitches it out to Anthony Thompson. A little quick move there, and he's down to the 25. A pickup of 9 yards on that carry.
This is something I think they should do more of. Here's Thompson right here. It's going to be a screen. He comes out here. Watch the 2 offensive linemen as they both come out here and then go down and block. It's an easy completion. You get the ball in the receiver's hands, one of your best running back. Get it out there away from all the defense and let him run from out there. It's like a long handoff, a little quick screen.
2nd and 1, up back Miller. Penalty flag. Penalty flag. Wouldn't it be something, though, if you turn around trying to pick up your first down? Now, you're down here knocking on the door. You got your guy. You want to put him in the record book, right? You can turn around and give the ball to Miller. He scores.
Hey, Miller, don't run that far. We want to get more yardage for our main guy.
This holding call is not going to help him, though.
He's got 90 yards rushing on the day on 30 tries for an average of 3. And caught 3 passes for 16 yards. So he is the man they feature in that offense. There's no question about it. They would probably be better served if they had more balance.
It is 2nd down and 11 now for Indiana. And the question now is whether or not Anthony Thompson is going to get his record today. David Snell lets it go down the middle. The tight end is there. That was very close to being a flag on Otis Williams. Almost a face guard call. He had his hands up pretty much in the face of Todd Walker. But the official decided not to flag it because he turned back just in time. As you look at the day's top 10 scores, and we're at 6:03 to play in the ball game. Illinois leading by only 7 in the second quarter against Wisconsin. On 3rd and 11, Schnell in trouble, down he goes, and now it is the 5th sack of the ball game by the Michigan defense, and once again you can call it coverage sack. There was nobody to throw the ball to.
And another linebacker. Simpson is an inside linebacker coming into the game. The linebackers had 15 of 23 of the sacks for Michigan. It's 5 sacks more. 28 sacks on the day, 12 more than all of last year. 28 sacks on the season.
And so the Hoosiers will have to punt it away. Welburn, fair catch at the 10. 5-10 to play in the game. 35-yard punt and no return, and the Wolverines are leading 38-10. Hey, not a bad idea. You got your ball game won now, and you gotta let people play football. You can't just hang around and scrimmage and butt heads and practice. You need game action. So you got Jared Bunch, who's been hurt. You got Alan Jefferson, who's been hurt. They're lined up behind Elvis Gerbach in the Michigan backfield.
We're going Monday.
And Alan Jefferson looking for a little room. Will get a couple of yards until he is rolled back by the angry Hoosiers. And we're at 5 minutes to play in the football game. Herschel Walker finally getting himself behind an offensive line that knocks some doors down for him. They take their act into the Meadowlands against the New York Giants here on ABC's Monday Night Football at 9 Eastern Time. And as we have told you, and told you, and told you.
That Herschel Walker trade is a big trade for Minnesota.
Oh,
they mortgaged their future for the present.
Yep. Leroy Horde is in the backfield. Finally got in. And Michigan calls a timeout.
Bo says, all right, Leroy, you can go in and play now. There's 4 minutes and 24 seconds to play. We'll let you go in and play some.
He might be a little hot, though. He might go in there and pop one. 12th largest crowd ever to see the ball game today, just under 106,000. 105,989 at Michigan Stadium. And so the Wolverines now talking things over with a lot. We're at second down at about 10. Up the pipe it goes. It doesn't figure that Michigan's going to be putting the ball up. You're seeing now a whole lot of the reserves in that. Big Doug Doherty, that big broad fellow in there. He's 6'3", 265-pound junior from Romeo, Michigan, in relief of Dean Dingman. And Rob Doherty is in the ball game, a redshirt freshman. He's a little fellow, 6'4", 295. Joe Kokozo probably is in, 295. Doug Skeen, 290, is in there. Those are 3 redshirt freshmen and 1 junior on the offensive front. Now here comes the heat. They pick him off. The pass thrown to the sidelines, and it's caught. So Elvis Gerbach hits Derek Alexander under pressure and picks up a first down, and that's a long, hard pass, that one he just threw.
Gerbach came on in relief of Taylor early in the season. I guess it was against Notre Dame, was it, at the first game?
Yep.
And played well that game, and then won all 4 of the games that he started, and then unannounced last week against Iowa, Bo makes the change back to Taylor, and Elvis is the backup.
John Vaughn, number 25, is in the ball game at tailback. He's a 5'10", 190-pound redshirt freshman from Florissant, Missouri. And so a lot of people now are getting to play for the Wolverines. And the last thing in the world that Bo wants to do is run up the score. I don't know if he's ever done that.
Especially not on his friend Bill Mallory.
Nope. But once in a while you get into a circumstance where you hear a lot of squawking about this, and always you hear the coaches say, well, I got these young people put in the ball game. What do you want me to do? Tell them not to play? that's a problem you almost always have. Reminds me of a comment years ago from Fritz Chrysler when we were talking about all of the rules and the hacking away at each other between upper campus and athletics and so forth. And Fritz's answer was relative to the pressure. What do you propose to do? Teach him to lose? So it's the same philosophy, I think, here.
Well, I'm all for getting your backups in there and letting them play, letting them run the plays they run in practice and try to move the ball until you get up to about 90. And then when you get it to 90, I don't think there's any need to score anymore.
Gee, thanks.
Talking about Houston and SMU last week. What a joke.
I have an opinion on that. This is number 33, Horde, with his first carry of the day. And Leroy gets outside and picks up about 3, and you got a timeout taken for an Indiana man shaking up on the play. I'm of the opinion Michigan at Illinois, Champaign, for what could be the title game. Of course, Michigan's going to have Ohio State to play here on November 25 in Ann Arbor. This is John Vaughn coming to the outside. He shows some quickness and shows some gizzardies. He puts 30 carries, 90 yards for a touchdown. What a big touchdown. It ties the NCAA record at 59 as Gerbach puts it up and Howard makes the catch. First down, Michigan, Indiana. Howard's another one of those redshirt freshmen that's looking a little better every time we see him. This is Horde. Down to the 5 for Leroy. Yeah, he's a little hot. Penalty flag.
Yes, sir. Bulls had him on the sideline all day. Normally a starter is Horde. You know, we've talked to Michigan players over the years. See a personal foul against Michigan and a personal foul against Indiana. And they all talk about the infamous Schembechler doghouse. A lot of players have been in it. And he has different ways of dealing with whatever, disciplining players. And you're seeing one of them today. Starter doesn't get in until the mop up, the last drive of the game. You can bet that Horde wanted to get into the end zone with that one.
So offsetting now. And we're under a minute and a half at 1:23. Gerbach keeps it and slides ahead to about the 3-yard line. I think they might have broken that play. Somebody might have popped a little too soon because it didn't look like Elvis had in mind carrying the ball, but he wound up with it. And the clock now running at a minute. And it's at the 3. Todd Barry, our spotter, Dave Bernson's statistician. On second down. This is Leroy Horde, and he gets to the 1. But the Hoosiers won't let him in. And they may run one more.
You think they will?
Maybe. Maybe not.
He may have just sent word in not to, yeah.
Dan Jokic has gone in. For Michigan, they're going to run one more. Horde. And they won't give him the touchdown. He's just short. And the game is over. The Michigan Wolverines go to 6-1. Indiana is 4-3. 38-10. Michigan. Now Jackaroo.
And Keith, we were the man who definitely has some mixed emotions today. Anthony Thompson, who joined an elite group, Tony Dorsett and Glenn Davis with 59 career TDs, but your team lost the game. Your thoughts?
Well, it's an honor to be mentioned around Tony Dorsett and Herschel Walker and all those guys, but we came up short of our goal today, so that's all that matters right now.
You came awfully close, though, to that magic 100 yards that's eluded you in your career here as in every game against Michigan.
Well, you know, that we're looking for a win. We're not looking for any record-breaking things or anything. We're just out here to win. That's our goal.
What about the Heisman Trophy? This has got to help your chances there.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to come out every Saturday and try to run for the Heisman. I'm coming out, play as a team player, and try to win some games.
When you scored the touchdown, you went down on one knee and had a private moment. What were you doing?
Well, there's this lady that has cancer in Virginia she had a daughter named Phyllis Holt, and she wrote me a letter this weekend and told me that her mom had cancer. And I told her I'd get down, if I scored, I'd get down on knee and say a little prayer for her. So that was for her.
Well, congratulations, Anthony, and you delivered a terrific message today.
All right, Jack, thanks very much. Congratulations to Anthony Thompson. Your final score today was 38-10. Michigan goes to a record of 6-1 on the season. They remain undefeated in the Big Ten. The Fighting Illini of Illinois are at Wisconsin today. They're trying to beat the Badgers. And then next week, Illinois will be down at Iowa. We will have that game for you from Iowa City for part of the country. And then we're looking down the road as Michigan goes to Champaign against the Illini, and that probably will settle the issue in the Big Ten. That's the story from Ann Arbor. 38-10 Wolverines.